Hey everybody, Real with Wes, day 2. I'm going to jump right into this, talking about this week. Really, it's kind of this nourishment from relationships and nourishment from connecting with people. Jesus talked about that. Let me read the scripture. John 4, verse 34. It says, Jesus explained, "My nourishment comes from doing the will of God who sent me and from finishing his work." Now we established that the will of God is, what are we looking? Helping others. The woman at the well, everything she went through, Jesus was intentional. Jesus even said, I had to go by there to interact with her, to walk her out of her shame, to walk her out of her bondage, to set her free. Why? So she could be everything God had called her to be. She went into the same town she used to be ashamed of, started saying, hey, come meet Jesus, come meet this man that told me all about my issues and this and that. The shame was gone. And it allowed it to become a testimony that touched other people's lives, that brought other people to Jesus. You see the cycle of all this, the beauty of being engaged in helping others. The reason I want to point this out, really, I want to emphasize day 2 and not rush through this. It's all about helping others. You want to experience that nourishment that comes from doing the will of God. People are like, I want to do the will of God. I want to do the will of God. My next very question, how are you treating and interacting with people? Or are you engaging with people at all? And are you doing it outside of your own self-centeredness, helping others with the intent of knowing, I'm not doing this to get anything out of it. I'm not doing anything to benefit from it. I'm doing it to purely be and say, I want you to be blessed. I am nothing else more than comes that than just seeing the nourishment that comes from the will of God being accomplished in life. That's what life is really all about. When we really, if you want to bring up all the terminology of Christian and everything else, it's about being a blessing to others. And so it's this constant thing of what you're going to hear all week. It's this, I'll talk about the spiritual development tomorrow. I'll talk about it takes faith on the next time. And then I'm going to talk about it ultimately, what does it lead to? It's how we live outside our lower self. And we live in our God nature and our God consciousness is what we do. But it takes helping others is what it does. And that's what it is. Like, what should I do as a Christian? How are you being a blessing? And it can be in the littlest things. Do you smile at somebody when they walk by? Do you acknowledge their presence? How do you talk to people in your tone? It can be all those things. And nobody does it perfect, but it's intentionally each and every day striving to do better. And then if you do make a mistake, make amends, apologize for it. But it's really making intentional, a conscious decision that as you go throughout your day and as God prompts you on the heart, when that compassion comes up to call somebody and just be like, hey, how are you doing? Respond to it. Or send them a text. When that compassion comes up and you see someone struggling to get through the door because they got boxed in the hand, grab the door. Don't deflect that, oh, I'm busy, I got to go. Well, what are you doing? You're dismissing. Those are those moments that God consciousness hits you. And it's in those little moments. It's not always getting on this big stage, doing this big altar call, doing all these things. It's not all about that. No, we don't want to make it. It doesn't always have to be this so-called extravagant. It's in the consistency of little subtle things all day long. All day long. When someone makes a mistake and you show compassion anyways, there's nourishment that comes from that. And I'll get into that tomorrow a little bit, what that is and how that looks. But it's really going to bless your life. And there's a happiness that you're missing from your life because you're not stepping outside yourself and helping others. So that's what I encourage you to do. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Catch you tomorrow.